Hey, Matt, how are you?
Nicholas, nice to see you this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Another interesting week,
Oh
to
my
say the
goodness.
least.
Well, Nicholas, today's December 6th. Have you
Absolutely.
started your holiday shopping yet?
Well, it's first of all, it's an holiday for me, supposedly, because I'm a Nicholas, and so December 6th is Saint Nicholas, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Um, so I'm supposed to give out candy today. Um, I haven't seen any personally, but I will probably do some of that. But no, I haven't started my holiday shopping yet.
Nah, either have I. I will admit that my wife Tina has been running around
Uh-huh.
crazily. We shop for a lot of people. We have a big extended family, including my kids. But I haven't bought technically a thing yet.
It's coming soon,
I
like
know we need to get going. We
the
both need
the
to get
the,
going.
the deadline for shipping is not like the 13th, so I think it's like a couple days away.
I
So we
know it's
gotta,
coming up quick. I know.
yeah. Well, we got a bunch of interesting topic to talk about, right? So there's like the big news of what's happening with TikTok. We were like debating and looking at the result, and guess what? I think the ruling is like 15-minute fresh, so we are right in.
Yeah.
We've got the winners and the loser of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, which I think some stat around that. Then you've got a small surprise for us at the end that I'm excited
Yeah.
to hear about.
Yeah.
Why don't
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
get started? All right, everybody. This is Nico with eStreamly, the company that gets you live stream on video on your website, social media, email, and SMS. So excited to be here. I'm with Matt, my great friend from E6 Marketing, the company that gets you on QVC and HSN. We're thrilled about this week. There has been obviously a lot going on. But before we go there, Matt, why don't you tell us what the show is about?
Yes, thank you very much for tuning in. Excuse me. This is called the VCommerce Podcast. Nicholas and I work in the video commerce space, which started at direct response television probably 50 plus years ago, graduated to QVC and HSN, home shopping, and now it's evolved into your phones and your tablets and your computer screens. You could shop virtually anywhere, anywhere in the world. It's a great space. It's an amazing space through e-commerce, video commerce space. A lot's going on in this space always, but especially this week. This week has been packed with statistics and information and where Americans were shopping, where people in the world were shopping. Nicholas, I've been kind of ramped up because it's like the results are in. We talked about the political dynamics a couple of weeks ago, and now we're talking about like how was Black Friday, how was Cyber Monday? Did all these e-commerce companies, were they successful? Everyone kind of works towards this weekend as being the epitome. This is Christmas Day in many ways for all these e-com and retailers. And how did it go? So that's what we're going to start with. I've been so excited about it. I've read all kinds of things this week, as I usually do this week leading up to this podcast. Every year it becomes bigger and bigger. So I've got winners and losers, and I've got all that kind of thing that we'll share. But the basic story is, and the headline is, according to Adobe, that U.S. consumers made a record, or consumers spent a record-breaking $10.8 billion in purchases on Black Friday. 10.8 billion of purchases, up from 10.2 from a year ago. So Adobe and another company called Salesforce were kind of conflicting with what they were reporting, but generally speaking, 10.8 billion. It's up. It's crazy. People were shopping everywhere. Nicholas, from your world, how did you think the day went?
It's interesting, right? Because you say Salesforce. Salesforce, they say they have better data than Adobe, and Adobe say they have better than the Salesforce. Salesforce is saying 17.5, right? Which is a pretty big gap in between, but it's very also, and they also say about the same kind of growth in both cases. So very interesting. What I've been hearing from a lot of merchants is that it's been a great Black Friday. I will say that I have been told that sales were a little soft actually from a lot of merchants I've talked to. It was not like the massive thing that they were talking. Not so much on video commerce, but like in general, they were like people I think were expecting a little further than that. But overall, pretty exciting year and end of year for sure. So
Well, I kind of called out winners and losers, and I saw some things, some consistencies. So obviously, e-commerce as a general thought was up. Chat GPT and artificial intelligence kind of dynamics were up. Toys were up. People were shopping for toys through e-com and VCommerce, and Amazon, or I'm sorry, and then all the China video commerce dynamics with TikTok Shop and not whatnot, TikTok Shop, Temu, Sheen, they all showed growth. TikTok Shop sales tripled in the first 2 weeks of November. Temu was up almost 20% in November, and so was Sheen. So the China dynamic was up tremendously. The losers, in-store shopping, prices and margin, and then Amazon.
Margin, yeah.
And let me talk about in-store shopping first. I actually went with my two boys on Black Friday night because we had to pick up suits that they were purchasing for my daughter's wedding, which isn't until June, but there was a sale. So we went to the second biggest mall in the United States, the King of Prussia Mall, to pick up suits. They had to get fitted for these suits for the wedding. So we went through the King of Prussia Mall. It was packed. People left and right, all kinds of people. Now, again, this is the second largest mall in America. I was completely uncomfortable from the moment we got there, finding a parking spot 2 miles away. I hadn't been in that mall in probably a couple of years. And I saw the economy booming. People were buying things left and right. But one thing that I noticed and I read about was, even though the volume of sales was up across the e-com world and maybe even retail, the margins were down.
Yeah.
And the prices were down. So I think all the retailers are really chasing the dollar in a different way, sacrificing their own margins to gain a bigger hit.
Yeah.
And that in the end, that sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't, right?
Yeah. But I mean, if you think about, right, like the whole year has been talking about inflation. We had a new administration that has been elected on that. On one of the big message was around that. So I think if you want it to be like, it had to be like, people have sacrificed margin. It's a clear. I mean, I've talked to merchants as well, and this been the thing, right? Good sales, but the margin were not there, and sometimes it was a little softer than what I expected. So, but yeah, that. Unfortunately, is not surprising that margin are having.
Well, one of the things, and another thing I did, and believe me, I don't normally shop, and I've told you that before, Nicholas. On the day before Thanksgiving, my wife and I went out to Costco, and we bought a television. So it was a self-purchase. The day before Thanksgiving, she thought it would be insane. It wasn't, but the deals were so great. We bought a lot of food for the Thanksgiving feast that we were hosting, and we actually bought a television with a sound bar for it. And we got just a great deal. So the only thing I'll say about this is short-term versus long-term goals. So everyone's chasing that short-term goal right now. They're trying to get the product out before the cutoff, which is next week, as you mentioned in the open, the shipping cutoff. So they're chasing the short-term dollar. What's it's going to mean for the first quarter and the first half of next year? And that's where the problem comes in with margins and prices, because all the margin, they'll take their margin back, the prices will go up, and then how will that affect sales? But from my point of view, from everything that I read, Black Friday was huge. And I know you wanted to cover Cyber Monday, which argumentatively it could have been even a bigger day.
Well, I mean, it has been a bigger day, right? In a way, right? Because they were supposed to, from Adobe this time. So we were comparing Apple to Apple, where on Black Friday, they had mentioned about 10 billion. For Cyber Monday, it was 13 billion, right? So we're talking about 20-something billion, 23 billion across 2 days. Pretty amazing number, right? When you think about it this way. And well, first of all, they beat the estimate that they originally had made, which was 13.2, and it reached 13.3. So pretty interestingly, 7% growth. The thing that really interested me in the data personally is they say 57% of Cyber Monday sales were made on the mobile phone. And so that is pretty interesting when you think about it, right? It's really it's 13% year over year. So we definitely are crossing the threshold of over 50%. But more interestingly, if it was happened 33% in 2019. So in a span of 5 years, we've kind of we close to double the number of people that have sales and transition from desktop to mobile, which really reinforced the fact that mobile is becoming the medium that you need to have and argumentally be very strong with in your e-com strategy. And that's pretty amazing to me.
The way I think about it, like I think, my customer through QVC and HSN are female, so I think about her sitting at her kitchen counter, shopping on the internet with her laptop. So like she's kind of has a destination. She's at her kitchen counter, maybe her dining room table. But these stats with mobile is telling me that she's doing it on the move or doing it from the couch. So we talked about this before on this podcast about multitasking, and no one's really dedicated to anything anymore. She's shopping while watching her favorite sitcom or her favorite show or whatever she's doing while shopping. So
well, she either doing that or maybe she has like a tablet, right? Because what we don't discriminate is what's the tablet versus mobile,
the phone, right?
Phone. So you may, the tablet, I'm assuming, will be probably under that mobile spend. But I do agree that it's really interesting, the dynamic going on, and I think it's really meant that for a lot of e-com, or their website are still antiquated and not mobile friendly yet, or they are getting to mobile. I mean, the train is moving, and it's moving really fast. So like getting in mobile, and in the video commerce space, we see that like the vertical format is everywhere now. It's like it's no longer like a question of like even the merchant. They are thinking, they are thinking vertical format video all the time now. So it's really changing the dynamics. The other thing is interesting was the buy now pay later, right? This is continue growing. It's 75% of the buy now pay later were on mobile, which is kind of interesting. Grow by 5.5%. So people are kind of looking of managing their budget and pushing expense as late as possible. We know credit card debt is to the roof already. So that, that's not a surprising number, but we're talking about almost $1 billion on spending that was on Cyber Monday, right? And 991 millions.
That's, what, that stat that you just shared makes me think about the month of February, because the month of February is when everyone's bills are going to come in, like late January, early February, right? So then how will sales be in February? So everything has a trickle down effect, right? You can't make these decisions, and you can't plan this kind of thing as a retailer or an e-commerce space without realizing that you're going to sacrifice something. And hopefully the sacrifice you're making is for the better or the greater good. But as we said, the sales were so crazy last weekend. They continue this whole week. I think everyone's trying to maximize the year, the calendar year, maximize the fourth quarter gift giving season. And then I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens, once January comes.
Yeah, absolutely. The next interesting news, this is kind of a fresh news. It's not breaking news, but it's kind of a very fresh because it's minutes away. TikTok was supposed to, was on court this morning, trying to fight their ban. And what was really happening is really had two free choice, right? So it was a U.S. federal appeal court. They were expected to rule today about if the law requiring ByteDance to divest TikTok in the U.S. or face a national ban. And then there was really free outcome possible. So the court could uphold the law, validating the U.S. government's position and having TikTok to do whatever the law is asking to do, or they have to file, if they want to, for Supreme Court, and it has to be done really fast, because if the courts uphold the law, that law will take effect on January 19th. So we're talking, 3 weeks from now, pretty much 3-4 weeks maybe. Actually, yes, 5 weeks from now. Sorry. The second position was, they could uphold the law but say it's unfair. And no, in this case, it makes the whole law in limbo. And then the other final could say it's unconstitutional. Well, the court say the law is constitutional, and they uphold the laws, meaning that now ByteDance has one option, if they want to, is to quickly appeal to the Supreme Court, and then try to nudge with maybe the next president's government to figure out a way to get that. But it's pretty lean, the option of action that they have. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting 5 weeks. I will tell you that.
I know. And you know what? From what I read, and like this is not breaking news, but it just happened this morning. In the end, the Supreme Court gets to decide if they want to even get into this dynamic. They don't even have to be part of this case if they decide it's not worthy of the Supreme Court. So we've talked about this before, and obviously we support video commerce in every way, and TikTok is kind of the leader in breaking through, especially with the younger generation. I can't believe the U.S. would walk away from all this money, but maybe they're in the 11th hour or within 5 weeks, a U.S. company will step up and have a similar thing. TikTok Shop. I talked to someone earlier this week. If it's not TikTok, it's going to be another platform. It's going to be something else. The video commerce is not going away. No matter what. But TikTok kind of broke through and figured things out where everyone's trying to emulate.
Well, if you remember, I think we were talking about this. I think, was it not in India where when TikTok got banned, pretty much all the traffic and innovation, Meta and Instagram took it over in a way by rolling out some really amazing features. So there's certainly some dynamic that's going to go on that way. But I agree with you. And then let's imagine for couple weeks, we end up having a situation where TikTok gets banned for maybe like a week or two, right? The new government is on. They have been vocal that they don't want that to happen. They figured out a way, and then TikTok will be banned. And then what? We would have been at 2 weeks of detox of TikTok, which might not be a bad idea either.
Yeah. So, I mean, Nico just got into our live stream, and he says X is going to take over TikTok. Very good. It could easily happen. It could easily happen.
Yeah.
Right. Of course, no, we all worry about national security and things and all that kind of thing. But this whole everything that TikTok Shop kind of does, and kind of it's a proven platform. It's a proven space, I guess, for retailers to thrive.
Yeah.
Before we go,
brands and now live shopping events are drawing real-time sales and exclusive.
Gary Vee was on Squawk Talk. I saw this video last night on social media. I'm not sure when this actual interview happened, but he was talking about social shopping throughout the interview, and I thought it was a great interview, and he did a very good job. I can't say I follow him as closely as I follow some other influencers, but I do follow what he does. He's always positive in his approach. He is a big advocate for video commerce, for live selling, live streaming, all that kind of thing. And I thought it most interesting because I'm a TV guy. Like the dynamic between him and the hosts was almost adversarial. The hosts were not on board with everything Gary was saying about how big this video commerce space is. And he was very methodically and politely going through all the advantages of what video commerce is all about. I thought it was a great interview. And if you're in this space or considering this space and you respect or know of Gary Vee, it's worth a listen to.
Yeah, very interesting, right? Gary Vee has been big with video commerce since the beginning, right? He was a streamer himself, selling, I think it was wine at the beginning, right? Or maybe he was selling other things before that, but before the pandemic, he was doing his own stream, and then he's been streaming across, broadcasting his stream across multi-platform for many years. And I know, now with the Gary Vee collection, with the miniature, the
collectibles.
The collectibles that he's been doing, which is pretty cool. He has really been pushing his live on, I think he's on Fanatic, on Whatnot. I'm pretty sure he's on TikTok as well, probably must have a TikTok shop. So he's a big advocate of that. And let's be honest, he's a social media celebrity. Whenever Gary Vee says something on social, his post gets on fire. People love what he's saying. So he's really able to make a dent, and he's really embodying what the future could look like, where you have an awesome creator that have awesome product and that are able to move product from point A to point B through using the camera and through using his audience. So I think it's the embodiment of what we've been talking about, which is company have to realize they become media company. And if you become a media company, you can be really powerful, and it's going to be, the future is a given for you.
Yeah, I don't know. No, we saw that TikTok news just minutes ago. I don't know what's going to happen in 25, but Gary V's theme of his conversation was, in 2025, video commerce is going to explode. So we already know it's big. It's something that you and I work in every day. It's going to even be, according to Gary, it's going to even be bigger in 25. So whether it's TikTok or selling through your website directly, or using a platform like QVC or other platforms, you have to respect and kind of learn as much as you can about video commerce space. It's going to be big moving forward.
Love that. Good point to end on. Matt, it's been a really cool conversation. We are here every Friday on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Feel free to check us out. If you want to share, we'd love that. And if you want to join the pod, just send us a note. We'd love to have you as well. And then if you have more conversation, you want to chat with us, feel free to reach out. Thank you, Matt, and we will see you again next Friday. Bye for now.